you can't necessarily compare the efficacy across these trials because the way that one trial defines its disease and a different trial defines its disease, they're not always directly comparable. And for me, what you need to look at is the real world effectiveness data and trust the regulators and trust the safety monitoring boards, etc., to have made the recommendations in your country that are best for the country and best for the people. And my message, both to my family and my parents who were in a different country, is take the vaccine you are offered, get a vaccine in your arm, make yourself safe, and make the world safe. In certain individuals, those type of memory responses may not be at a level that could protect you against disease and hospitalization. So in older adults, it's certainly harder to induce, typically it's certainly harder to induce a long-lived memory T cell response, and you may need a booster there to help augment the, not necessarily the memory, but the circulating T and B cells that could mediate protection. So for the very rare side effects, so the thrombolytic events that have been reported with the adenoviral vaccines, there have been so the incidence of those tends to be relatively small, and it depends on the populations that you're looking at when you look at the incidence. There have been a recent number of publications, I can think of at least two, that have shown those adverse rare side effects do not happen on the second dose, or if they do happen, they happen at a level that is common within a population. So it's not above the population level. And obviously, the other vaccines have very rare adverse reaction as well. I think when it comes to mixing vaccines, I've been involved in some studies looking at administering Pfizer first or Chadox first, and then doing the other second. One regime tends to is slightly more reactogenic, but the immune responses in the mixed regimes do look good. I can understand the concerns because I certainly worked in a field where it took me 5 to 10 years to make a vaccine. All the safety steps that we take to make a vaccine in 5 to 10 years, we did in 9 to 12 months. We just did it faster because we knew we had to. And we worked with it. We did all the normal testing. We did all the safety that you would do with any other vaccine. It just ended up with a lot of people working a lot of hours to get these vaccines tested to the same level. We've learned an awful lot of lessons. The frontline healthcare workers, sanitation workers, the population, the communities at large. We've learned a lot throughout this pandemic. And I think there is a responsibility on us as a global community not to forget. And I know we all want to get back to normal, whatever normal is, but we shouldn't forget the sacrifices that we have made. And we should almost have an institutional memory, and we should not forget, because I don't want my children or your grandchildren to have to do what we've had to do across the last year and a half. I think there is a responsibility on the scientists, the regulators, the government, to ensure that when there is another pandemic, and there will be, that we are in a better situation so that we can make vaccines, therapeutics, track and trace, all types of interventions faster and better, so that we don't put such a burden on the future generations to have to go through what we have.